Yesterday afternoon, I went out to a barber shop to get a haircut. And because I'm still trying to find my way around the city, if I have to go out to a place like that, I have to use my GPS. So I put on my GPS and I went over there. And while I was getting the haircut, I glanced at my phone and I saw a red icon, 2%. My battery was 2%. And instantly everything changed inside of me, and I turned the brightness down. I closed the other apps, and my whole life was anxious for a moment. How do I get my battery to last me and lead me home? Isn't it amazing that we get into this mode sometimes, not just with our phones, but also with our lives? We tell ourselves, I only have so much patience left. I only have so much energy left. I only have so much hope left. And many of us are living our lives at 2%. But when I reflected on this experience, the problem wasn't just that my battery was 2% or that it was low. The problem was what happened when it was low. I got into a panic state of mind. I started to be afraid. Am I able to get home, or am I going to miss my way? And fear started to make decisions for me. I stopped thinking about what I could do, and I started thinking about what I could miss. Maybe I'll miss my way home. Because fear counts what is missing. I believe this is exactly what happened to the disciples in today's gospel text. They had gathered with Jesus, and when scripture says 5,000 men, it means if you count the number of women and children and add it, it could be 20,000 people. Because as you have more women and children here, so also with Jesus' time, right? And so, huge numbers of people, and it was evening, and they have only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And they're wondering, what can we do? Now, the disciples are not wrong about the numbers, right? They really do only have 5 loaves and 2 fish. And they're also not indifferent to the plight of the people. The math wasn't just adding up. How is it that 5 loaves and 2 fish will feed more than 5,000 people? It just wasn't possible, humanly thinking. Sometimes we find ourselves in this state where we're looking at ourselves and saying, I'm just one person. I don't have a lot. I cannot effect change. I'm just one person. But when the disciples were looking at 5 loaves and 2 fish, Jesus saw the beginning of a miracle. Why? Because fear counts what is missing, but faith looks at what it has. Fear counts what is missing. Faith looks at what it has. Now, then the miracle begins. And the miracle begins not because the disciples suddenly become capable. No, it begins because Jesus is faithful. A few months ago, I had someone in my office and we had a long conversation. And after a while, she paused and she was looking at the ground and she said to me, Father, I don't have anything left to give. She wasn't talking about her bank account. She was talking about her heart. But look at what Jesus does. Look at what he does in this encounter. First, this episode in the gospel text reveals to us something about the nature of God. God is not standing at the distance waiting for us to go to him. In fact, and I have said this again and again, it's only in our Christian faith that God goes in search of the human person. God goes in search of us. God goes in search of you. And that's why the prophet Isaiah today would say, hey, come. Come to the waters. Come and drink. If you're thirsty, come. Now, if you look at the gospel text from the earliest centuries, believers have always seen a pattern of the Eucharist in the gospel text. This episode has been very clear. What happens? They bring to Jesus the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. And what does he do? He takes. He blesses. He breaks. And he gives. He takes. Before he does anything with the bread, Jesus simply takes it into his own hands. Its value, the value of the bread, doesn't come from itself. It comes from the person who is holding it in his own hands, Jesus. And see, he holds it. Your life will never be fruitful unless you place it in his own hands. My life will never be fruitful unless I place it in Jesus' own hands. Second, he blesses. Now, Jesus looks up to the Father and he gives thanks. And he does that while there are only 5 loaves and 2 fish. He gives thanks before the shortage disappeared. He doesn't look down on the scarcity, no. He looks to the source of all that there is. Faith is not gratitude when everything has been fixed, no. Faith is gratitude because God is present even when there are challenges. When we only see that which is missing, Jesus sees abundance. And so he takes, he offers, he blesses. Then what does he do next? He breaks. We all want to be taken by Jesus. We all want to be blessed by Jesus, but we do not want to be broken. None of us wants to be broken. I do not want to be broken. But the bread was never given to a single person unless it was broken. And it's not to say Jesus comes into your life to break you and to cause difficulties for you. No, he doesn't do that. But when life breaks you, he comes into that brokenness. He doesn't let you in that place of brokenness. He enters into that brokenness. He was broken himself, broken on the cross. And from that brokenness, he gave us new life. And when he comes in your brokenness, when he comes into my brokenness, he gets into that brokenness and he uses it as a tool, as a step for restoration and for using us. There is no person in Scripture that God has used without first breaking them or allowing them to experience brokenness. Look at Jesus. He experienced brokenness. Look at Moses. He experienced brokenness. Go through all of Scripture. Look at Paul, the writer of today's second reading. He was broken. And after Jesus breaks, what does he do? He gives. And how does he give? He gives to his disciples who are not perfect people, who are broken people. And in turn, he asks them to give to the people. From your brokenness, he offers you a ministry. A person who knows grief can sympathize with another who is broken in grief. Unless you wear the shoes, you may never know where it hurts. Tomorrow, my friends, when you wake up and you open the door and you head out the door, the world is going to demand of you to do the same math. Where 5 loaves and 2 fish are not enough for what is needed. And fear is going to cause you to start counting what is missing. I am not enough. I am just one person. I cannot do it for this family. But I want you to remember why faith counts what is missing. Why fear rather counts what is missing. Faith gives what it has. In just a moment, just a short while, we would have a couple of folks walk through the aisle and bring to us the ordinary species of bread and wine. Simple basket, simple bread and simple wine. And it would look very ordinary. It would look small. But you know what happens when the ordinary is placed into Jesus' hands? What does he do? He transforms it. And Jesus is going to take the bread. He is going to bless it through the hands of his own minister, the priest. He is going to break it. And he is going to give it away. And when you see that bread lifted above the altar, don't think of it as ordinary. No. It is being taken by the hands of Jesus, blessed by the hands of Jesus, broken by the hands of Jesus, and given by the hands of Jesus. And when that is happening, I want you to unite your life to that mystery that is taking place. The taking, the blessing, the breaking, and the giving. When you place your ordinary life, when we place our ordinary lives into his hands, he transforms it. I want you to say to Jesus silently this moment, Lord, here is my 2%. Here it is. Here is my 2%. Do with me what you do with the bread and the wine. And see what Jesus will do.